The people of the state deserve a tax cut. And the Democrats in the legislature, in the 8 years before I became governor, raised taxes and fees on the people of New Jersey every 25 days for 8 years. Every 25 days. Now, I've been governor now today for 855 days. And for 855 days, they have been prevented forcibly by me from raising taxes. You can imagine, these people across the street are going through withdrawal. They are on the floor, sweating, shaking. They don't know what to do because they need to raise taxes. They have to, because they have to spend more. They must. And they can't live with the fact that even my budget this year, that makes the largest pension payment that any governor has ever made in a single year to the public pension program, that fully funds our hospitals, that makes the largest contribution to aid to K-12 public schools that any governor has ever made in the history of the state. Even with that, our spending is lower than Jon Corzine's fiscal year 2008 budget. And they're in the shakes over it. The only thing that makes them shake more is the possibility that we might actually cut taxes. This now is a desperate situation. So they needed to call in the Dr. Kevorkian of the numbers. David Rosen, the Dr. Kevorkian from the Partisan Office of Legislative Services. And so last year, when they needed David Rosen to say we had a huge amount of money so they could spend, he got right up to the podium and said it. This year, when they don't want to cut your taxes under any circumstances, they have their handmaiden walk over across the street in front of the Assembly Budget Committee today and say, oh, I was wrong. I was 1.6 billion wrong for this year, but trust me, for next year, you're another 660 billion short for next year. Why would anybody with a functioning brain believe this guy? How often do you have to be wrong to finally be dismissed? And in fact, he was apparently asked this morning. He said, I want to address the contention that OLS's numbers have been all over the place. They have been. He can't even defend it any longer. It's so obvious that they're being manipulated by the majority, they can't even defend it anymore. So, the treasurer will testify this afternoon. And I'm not going to jump ahead of him. I'll let Andrew give the type of measured, professional testimony he's given for every year that he's been governor. And by the way, he's been right. And when he's been wrong, you know how he's been wrong? He's underestimated revenues. Each year, we've ended up with more money than we thought we were going to have, that I've been governor. That's the way to do it. Spend responsibly. Estimate revenues responsibly. That's why we're in position to cut taxes for people this year. And I will tell you this, if taxes do not get cut this year, it is the responsibility of one set of people, and that's the legislative Democrats. So all of you who might want to have more money and cut taxes 10% in the income tax to be able to invest in your businesses, to be able to contribute to your children's college education fund, to be able to take a vacation next summer. If you can't do it, the only people responsible are the legislative Democrats. And if you don't think that that's what they're preparing to do, why do you think David Rosen has given the testimony he's given this morning? I mean, it should be humiliating to him to say last year and this year combined now for this fiscal year, he's $1.6 billion wrong. It's a joke.